Has the market changed its mind about what the Fed may do next?
We have got to get inflation behind us. I wish there were a painless way to do that. There isn't.
Think of that number, and maybe more importantly, what do you think the Fed's going to do, and therefore what their equity is going to do?
I've been saying over and over again to my colleagues here that he wants your portfolio down so that you won't be able to spend as much.
Hey, good morning. I'm Christopher Crystal with Financial Stockholm. Today is Wednesday, October 27th. And in Sweden, we have our first parliamentary debate discussion with the new government, and so the Moderaterna leading the party and the mandate and the debate, and then the Social Democrats standing as the opposition party. Kicks off with a discussion about corporations and taxes and the family rights and who's putting what first and whether this will help Swedish society. So we're getting bogged down in the newly started campaign forecasting and election cycle starting already, despite the 4-year. And we'll see how this goes and what they really start to discuss. On top of that, we also have adding into the mix the Nobel Prize dinner, and the leader of the Sverigedemokraterna party, Jimmy Åkesson, has not been invited again to the dinner because he doesn't represent the ideals of what the dinner hosts say they want to have. And he then responds, well, I don't care, I don't want to be there anyway, or, you know, I'm not going to adhere to their constraints, or, you know. So the campaign has started. So the debates will become premier importance, and we'll keep an eye there. We have another shooting that occurred last night in Stockholm, or the Stockholm area, and it was on a cykelbanan, or bicycle lane path. And this is very disturbing because we see the continued deterioration of our society. So this will be the front and foremost issue that they're dealing with, although I think energy would factor into this. And so that takes us to the EU. And we have a debate between the EU states and the EU on how to handle the energy crisis, which we are undergoing, and the high electricity prices. We have next Tuesday as that day for the lower electricity prices from the new government. So that'll probably be focused on next week, and how they haven't been able to reach this commitment of lower energy cost and increased inflation. So that will factor in. And then on top of it, we also see that in the again with the EU, Sweden is sending over Archer missile systems to the Ukraine. So we're joining in the other NATO nations already in NATO for defense systems, and or you can use them to attack as well. You don't have to use them just for defense. Like Poland and France and Germany, and what they are sending to the Ukraine. So it does not look like the Ukraine situation will move to the peace talks. And that was I think, a dramatic result that is very negative for our economies. Despite the fact that you would need something like, the original estimate was around 250 billion, but I think it would be closer to 350 billion now that Russia's knocking out the infrastructure, and you have a very cold winter forecast coming up. The war will progress, and you will see a loss of life, and you will see continued environmental destruction. So this is a significant issue, and the discussion in the EU right now is focused more on how to handle the energy price caps, and if there should be a price cap put on what the Russian gas will be. I think what's not taken into effect in that equation is how will Putin react to that? Because typically, if I go to a store and I say, I'm not going to pay the price you're selling at, they usually say, okay, thank you, bye. We're not selling it to you. So it just, I'm not clear how this is going to be resolved. But the peace talks are not even close to anywhere. Biden was going to be offered a letter by a progressive group within the House Democrats where they were going to ask for peace talks, but they then later tabled that and retracted their letter that they were going to send. So they never sent it. And so we're very far away from peace talks. And in the meantime, to make things more fun, we have a shipping purchase. So a logistics handling company, port in Berlin, I believe, the HHLA is about to be 25% purchased by the Chinese Costco. And so we see that I believe it's Costco. The stake will be taken, and despite warnings of data transfer and how the logistics will work if China does assume Taiwan as part of China, and how the European Union would react with sanctions, what this would do to the German economy. So I think in this sense, you would look to see that Germany and the rest of Europe would have to agree to what's going on between China and this runaway province of Taiwan. They will have to accept it, otherwise they will have to accept economic destruction. So, and on that, BNP in France has said that they will tighten up their financing on energy companies. So get ready for a continued energy crisis. It looks like everybody's happy to say, look, we can be cold. Although more people die from the cold than die from the heat. That's not taken into account. And if you need information on that, check out Roger Pilkey, check out Bjorn Lomborg, check out, go right to the IPCC, read the report yourself, and you'll see. So we're kind of in the middle of a Swedish government looking for its soul, and debates continuing there about how to mend the society. And we'll see further discussions. On the business side, we do have, in the banking world, you saw that some of our banks are coming in better than expected. And this you can see also reflected in the US side. So techs are weighing heavily, but the banks are starting to look good. And associated with that, we see some of our more leveraged real estate companies looking like they may lose some of their ownership to foreign companies. And so again, it's really going down to the Swedish soul. One of our other companies would be called Swedish Match, has been approved by the EU for acquisition by Altria. And you'll see other, or you already see companies in South Korea getting pressure on how to restructure themselves. So the tobacco world will look to change. We did also see the opening last week, I believe it was Costco, the food company in the US, opening up in a place like Arninge, and which is just north of Stockholm, and offering memberships. And so this will put pressure on our companies like ICA, like Coop, and we'll see how Axfood handles this, as well as other companies like smaller ones like City Gross or Lidl and Aldi, which have been entering into the Swedish market. We'll see how these all react to the entrance of Costco. And so that's really it. We're leaving Sweden this morning with a kind of looking for its soul and how to respond. And I wish you a great day in the markets, and hope you have a good one. Thank you.